Good evening, everyone. I am CA Ravit Hans, moderator of this VCM. We are delighted to welcome you all in the 31st VCM of the series, Beating the Monday Blues, being organized by Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICAI. It is my pleasure to be the moderator for this session on VCM on opportunities for CA in MSME sector and fundamental of revision proceeding under Section 263 of the Income Tax. In a short while, we will start this VCM. I would like to appraise you about CPE committees. The increasing globalization, continuing developments in the field of finance, and frequent changes in the world economic order have posed numerous challenges before the accounting profession worldwide. These challenges have significant implications on the growth and development of our profession and simultaneously have more expectations from the profession as a whole. It is indeed the responsibility of the professional bodies to provide members with adequate facilities and opportunities to meet the challenges thrown by the dynamic environment by continuously enhancing their knowledge, skills, and professional values. With the vision, the CPE Committee of ICAI has been organizing a number of programs with the help of our programming organizing units. The program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1.5 hours each, and topics are: first, opportunities for CAs in MSME and startup registration, government schemes, etc. And the second topic is nitty-gritty of revision proceedings under Section 263 of the Income Tax. Our eminent speakers will talk about the above mentioned two emerging areas of professional interest. Now, I would like to call CA Kirti Joshi Sir, Chairman of Indore branch of CIRC of ICAI, to address us about what branch is doing for CPE learning. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Respected Kemisha ma'am, in absentia, Central Council member and Chairman of CPE and Women Empowerment Committee of ICAI. Respected CS Nanda sir, Central Council member, Chairman of Internal Audit Standard Board and Committee on Management Accounting. Respected Mukesh Mohan Gupta sir, Jignesh Kumar Parikh sir, learned speaker of the day, and Ravit Hans ji, Managing Committee members of Indore branch, seniors in the profession, and dear professional colleagues. Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all on behalf of CP Committee of ICAI in this webinar. And the topic for today's webinar is opportunities for chartered accountants in MSME sectors and fundamentals of revision proceedings under Section 263 of Income Tax Act. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has always been striving for excellence in terms of standards of professional services rendered by its member, with a view to enabling its member to maintain the requisite professional competence and thus ensure high quality standards in the profession services that they render. The ICAI has identified CPE as a major area of focus for the members. Thus, the ICAI, through its CPE committee, has been providing continuous inputs to its members throughout the seminars, lectures, workshop, technical lectures, e-learning, and web-based learning. And now Indore branch is going to celebrate its golden jubilee year. To make it memorable, we have come up with 50 initiatives. And to empower branch CA, I would like to share a few of initiatives, which are returnship initiative, in which we tried to mitigate the hurdles of career gap by providing refresher training to female members to maximize the knowledge of the members. We have come up with one-time registration scheme, and during the pandemic, we have arranged 45 oxygen concentrators, food, and we have also formed a COVID task force under the able leadership of Kemisha ma'am. Initiative Mushkil Ki Ghadi Mein Hum Khade Hain Saath, which helped the family members of our beloved diseased members for applying the various institutes for applications and claims, providing training to the college-going students and commerce graduates so that they can think of becoming a part of CA offices, 50 days fitness program, smart classrooms for GMCS, and many more. And with these words, I welcome you all in this webinar. Over to you, Raviji.
Thank you, sir. So going further, as we all know, our first speaker here with us is CA Mukesh Mohan Gupta, sir, who is going to throw light on the topic opportunities for CA in MSME and startup registration. Before proceeding further, let me give a brief description about Sir. He is a qualified chartered accountant having experience of over 30 years in auditing, accounting, finance, law, banking, economics, and MSMEs. He is invited by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, to discuss the current economic situation and way forward, especially for MSMEs. He was invited at UK SINA committee before finalization of its report on MSME. He had been invited by the Governor, Reserve Bank of India to discuss issues and suggestions for stressed MSMEs. He is the president of Chamber of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, presented pre-budget memorandum for Union Budget to Ministry of Finance, Government of India. He has delivered various sessions on different topics related to micro, small and medium enterprises at FICC, SHOM, PhD, CCI and CIMSM. He conducted many interviews with so many dignitaries on TV show telecasted on G Business. So, sir, before I would like to invite you, around 1400 participants have joined through separate online platform and queries will be taken in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Now I request you, sir, to start today's session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It is indeed a pleasure for me. And I'm sure that it will be a learning process for me. In fact, today I am here to learn a lot of things from the participant, from the panelist. That is my way of learning. In fact, I do a lot of activities in MSME sector, and as you all know, that MSME plays very important role in the economy of any country, for that matter, and particularly India, because about 30% is the share in the GDP by these MSMEs. And most of the chartered accountants, I feel, are providing their consultancy to these MSMEs, because more than 95% businesses are run by these MSMEs, and the definition of MSME has already been changed, meaning thereby that a large number of businesses are now covered under MSMEs. I am sure that many of the friends who are on this platform today may be knowing much more than me, but still I'll try my best to discuss some of the issues which we, being the chartered accountants, may find interesting, and they can serve their clients in a better way, the clients which are MSMEs, or which most of the chartered accountants are providing the consultancy. So I would like to share my screen. Yeah. So as I feel my screen is visible to everybody. Yeah. So today we'll discuss the problem being faced by MSMEs, so that once we know, as a chartered accountant, as a consultant to these MSMEs, we should understand that what are the problems being faced by these MSMEs. Then we would like to understand that what are the government scheme for MSMEs, so that whenever any client or any MSME visits or meet us, so we can advise them about the government schemes. We will cover many loan schemes, because most of the MSMEs are struggling with getting finance from the bank or the financial institution. To me, the delayed payment is the biggest problem the MSMEs are facing nowadays. You might have heard that Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister MSME, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, even the Prime Minister has talked many times about the delayed payment being stuck up with the government companies, the PSUs, or even the large corporates. Because of this delayed payments, they always struggle, and I have seen many cases where they have been mandated to even close their businesses. If there is only one or two clients and their payment is stuck up with them, perhaps they have no option but to close the businesses. And then as far as the opportunities for CA is concerned, I suppose all these problems and all those issues which I'll try to discuss today will be a good opportunities for the chartered accountants to serve their client in a better way. So as I was discussing that problems being faced by MSMEs, which I'm quite confident that many of my CA friends will be facing through their clients. In fact, that one, they are not aware of various schemes. They are not aware of various facilities. They are not aware of various concessions being given to these MSMEs. Lack of finance is the other very important problem being faced by these MSMEs. Delayed payment, as I told you. The another problem being faced by these MSMEs is lack of upskilling, and most of the time they are not ready to be the digital. In fact, they have a lot of fears amongst themselves that their data will be theft, or how to go digital. Because of this, perhaps they are not able to go to the next level. Another important problem is the affordability to hire talent is there. So we'll try to find out the solution out of these problems. But before that, let me let you know that what is the definition of MSME. So earlier, the definition of MSME was based on the investment of the enterprise into plant and machinery in case of manufacture sector, and investment in equipment in case of service sectors. Now, the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises has issued a notification. 2 years are almost now. So on 26th of June 2020, this notification was issued. This MSMED Act was enacted in 2006, as in Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act 2006. And since 2006, there was no revision in the definition of MSMEs, and the definition which was there towards the investment in plant and machinery or the equipment for the manufacturing or service sector was going on as it is. So there was a demand from these MSMEs that the definition or the investment in plant and machinery amount should be increased. So now this notification has been issued by the Ministry of MSME. I'll let you know what this notification specifies. So these are the existing and the revised definition of MSME. Earlier, if you'll see that there were different definition for manufacturing enterprises and service enterprises, and the maximum investment in plant and machinery was 10 crore to be classified as medium enterprises. Otherwise, it was 25 lakhs, 5 crore or 10 crore in case of manufacturing sector, and 10 lakh, 2 crore and 5 crore in case of service sector. Now, with this new notification of 26 June 2020, it has been told that now there will be no difference in manufacturing and service sectors. And very important change has been put up wherein they have told that now the criteria for defining any business into micro, small or medium enterprises will be based on two things. One will be investment in plant and machinery for both the manufacturing and service sector, and the other one is the turnover. I'll discuss how to calculate the investment in plant and machinery and the turnover also, because there are a lot of confusion on that. But the definition is that for micro enterprises, if the investment in plant and machinery is up to 1 crore and the turnover is 5 crore, and is very important, meaning thereby that if any business is there and the investment is up to 1 crore and turnover is 5 crore 1 lakh, it will go to small enterprises. Likewise, for small enterprises, 10 crore and 50 crore for the investment and turnover respectively. And for the medium enterprises, the criteria is 50 crore and 250 crore for the investment in plant and machinery and turnover respectively. So both these conditions have to be fulfilled for any enterprise to be classified under any category. It has also been told that only one certificate will be enough to classify or to get registered as an MSME, which is Udyam registration. Udyam registration is based on the self-declaration. It is free of cost. No document is required to upload, and it is available online. And whenever we file our Udyam registration detail, we can get our Udyam registration online maximum within 7 days. I'll let you know how it is to be done. And as I told that there is a composite criteria for investment turnover. So one big opportunity, friends, is there that what we always listen whenever you heard to the finance minister, to the prime minister, to any minister, in the government or any officer of the government, they always refer that there is more than 6 crore enterprises which are MSMEs. As on today, Udyam registration doesn't have that much of numbers. In fact, it will be in the range of 50-60 lakhs only. So whenever any of your client comes to you, please ensure that if they are into manufacturing or service sector, please ask them to get them registered under Udyam registration. It is, as I told you, it is free of cost available, but then you will be able to serve them in a better way, because there are various government schemes. There are various incentives which are available only to these MSMEs. So please advise your clients whenever they visit. And as I told you that only manufacturing and service sectors are covered into MSME. Recently, traders were also allowed to be registered under Udyam registration. But let me clarify one very important thing, that traders are allowed to register themselves under Udyam, but the facilities, the schemes of any government or any ministry or any other banks or anything is not available to these traders. Only they have been allowed by the bankers to classify them under priority sector lending. So with this notification which I was referring to, these 4 existing notifications have been withdrawn. So if you are aware about the existing notifications, I'll just let you know this June 1, 2020, just about 15 days before this, about 25 days before this notification which I was referring to was issued. It was about the new definition of MSME, but it was withdrawn because there were a lot of confusion. So a very detailed notification was issued. So this notification was withdrawn. This 2017 notification was related to the Udyog Aadhaar memorandum. Since now the name is changed to Udyam registration, so that is also withdrawn. Another very important notification has been withdrawn, wherein earlier the facility for upward graduation was available up to 3 years. That is not there. And there was certain plant and machinery which were excluded while calculating the investment in plant and machinery or equipment as per the earlier definition, has also been withdrawn, because it's okay, because earlier it was maximum 10 crore or 5 crore in case of manufacturing or service sector respectively. Now it is 50 crore. So they told some very like DG set, digs, tools, dies, molds, these type of plant and machinery were to be excluded. Now they told no, you take everything, because we have increased the limit to 50 crore. So as far as the investment in plant and machinery is concerned, it is linked to the income tax return of previous years. And if the income tax return is not filed, then the businesses can give a self-declaration. Very important change with this new definition is that earlier it was the original cost of the plant and machinery. Now the WDV, written down value, has been announced to be taken. So this is also a very big relief to the MSMEs. And it has been told that all tangible assets, excluding land, building, furniture, fixtures, are to be considered under plant and machinery. This is, I don't know what is the reason behind this, but for the new enterprises, it has been told that GST also need to be excluded for the new enterprises, maybe some better or some additional relief to these enterprises. And there is Section 7 of MSME Act, wherein some items have been specified to be excluded. As I told that Those items which were to be excluded earlier as per the notification is now withdrawn, but which is provided under the Act in Section 7 of the MSME Act are still to be excluded. As far as turnover is concerned, very, very important condition that export turnover to be excluded, meaning thereby that if there is any export-oriented company, it will always fall under micro enterprises, because if the investment is there, that so as far as based on the turnover, if the investment is up to 1 crore, turnover may be 500 crore, still it will be a micro. So export turnover need to be excluded while calculating the turnover, as I told you earlier. And it will be linked to the income tax, CG, ST, GSTIN, and this Udyam registration is effective from July 1, 2020. So this is the website address. There are many sites, in fact, which demand some money. My request is that, friends, you please advise your members to go only with this site, udyogadhar.gov.in or udyamregistration.gov.in. It is available, this Udyam registration, free of cost on these two sites. Otherwise also, we all know that wherein there is any gov.in, it's a government site, because any private person or organization is not empowered to get this gov.in after the website address. So please note down if you don't have this information with you, and use these two sites only to get this Udyam registration. One very important announcement I want to share with you, that I started making some videos for the awareness, because I told you that awareness is the biggest problem these MSMEs are facing. So I started making some videos, and then my office colleagues, what they did, in fact, they put these videos on a YouTube channel called MSME Helpline. I'll explain you a little bit about these things. So I tried to make a video that how much time it takes to get this Udyam registration. It was only 7 minutes. Because only the Aadhaar number is required, which should need to be linked with the mobile number. Aadhaar number in case of proprietor, ship firm, or the proprietor. Aadhaar number in case of partnership, any of the partner. In case of HUF, Aadhaar of the Karta, or in case of company, LLP, trust, society, any person, any director or any authorized person, by the resolution of the company, can complete this Udyam registration process. And if anybody is having this Udyog Aadhaar earlier or EM Part 2, just remember that this Udyog Aadhaar number will be valid only up to 31st of March 2022. The date has recently been extended. Earlier it was up to 31st of December 2021, but now it has been extended to 31st of March 2022. So please advise. And one very important thing, friends, we the chartered accountants are also MSMEs. So first of all, we should get ourselves registered under this Udyam registration, because we are into service sector, and you can get a lot of facilities by registering yourself at this Udyam registration. So my request will be, please get yourself registered first, and then for your clients, because it will give you a lot of benefits by registering on MSME portal, which is Udyam registration. So this is, as I told you earlier, it was 3 years upward change. Now it is only 1 year. So when I was talking about the facilities being given to these MSMEs, here is another important point: delayed payment to MSMEs. And I have seen in case of some chartered accountants also. Recently also, I found that one large company was not paying the fee to one of my friend who is a chartered accountant. He was registered under Udyam registration. They use this facility of the Ministry of MSME, which I am now going to discuss with you. And he was able to recover the entire money within a very short span of time. So this is a good tool in the hands of any MSME, because the delayed payments threaten MSMEs on ability to trade, because they have the limited funds. If some funds is stuck up, they are not able to take more orders, in fact, and it impacts their working capital. It creates the mismatch in the cash flow. And we have seen many times that accounts are classified even NPA by the banks because of no fault of these MSMEs, only because their payment was stuck up with the large corporates, with the PSUs, government organizations, government departments. So these are the problem. I will discuss these four statutory provisions which you can use maybe for yourself or for your clients. So one is protection under Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act. The other is protection under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. The third is discounting of bills under threats. And then a new initiative has been started by us. When I say by us, so I am the co-founder of a company which is a startup called Indian MSME Helpline Private Limited. So that they have started this nodefaulters.com. I will explain you how this nodefaulters.com works. In fact, if there is any default by any company, maybe MSME, non-MSME, and any buyer doesn't pay to them, they can register on this no defaulters, and they can report the default amount on nodefaulters.com. The team of this nodefaulters.com then approaches the buyers. They request them, they follow up them, they send them the phone calls, they send them the WhatsApp, they send them the SMS, and personally calls also, and they request them to pay. If they don't pay, and then many legal assistance are also available to the person or to the businesses who register their default on this nodefaulters.com. So I'll discuss maybe slightly more on this issue. So first, I'll discuss this protection under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act. So this act provides that payment or to any micro and small enterprises. Medium as of today is not covered for this facility, but they say that payment to any micro and small enterprises need to be made within 45 days of the acceptance of the invoice. If they don't make, then this act provides that compound interest with monthly rest at 3 times of bank rate. Bank rate is which is Reserve Bank of India rate, notified by Reserve Bank of India. So which currently may be around 4-5%. So 3 times of that, and it's a monthly rest. So it's a big amount. So after 45 days, if nobody is paying the dues of any micro and small enterprises, they have to pay it with the interest. And friends, it's otherwise also very important that whenever you do any audit of any company, please see that the provision of the interest is there or not. If they have some due to micro and small enterprises, please ensure that they have provided the interest without fail if any amount is due for more than 45 days. So reference is to be made to Micro Small Enterprise Facilitation Council, because under the MSME Act, these facilitation councils have been created and which are on every state basis. And nowadays, every state has formed these facilitation centers at different places. Earlier, it was normally one MSCFC, one state, but now most of the states have number of facilitation councils in their states. So this is section 15, which is about the liability of the buyer to make payment, where it says that wherever any supplier supplies any goods or renders any service to any buyer, the buyer shall make payment thereof on or before the date agreed upon between him and the supplier in writing, or where there is no agreement in this behalf before the appointed date, provided that in no case the period agreed upon between the supplier and buyer in writing shall exceed 45 days from the day of acceptance or the day of deemed acceptance. Very important point here is to remember, in fact, that because it's saying that buyer shall make the payment therefore on or before the date agreed upon. So what happens, suppose the buyer and seller, they agree that payment will be made after 90 days. Suppose this is the agreement. The MSC also agree this condition that okay, 90 days payment terms is acceptable to us. What does it mean? Then any interest is payable or not? So yes, the interest is payable. The act is very clear. Even if the buyer and seller agrees any period beyond 45 days, either they need to pay it within 45 days or the interest, as I refer to at the rate of 3 times of bank rate need to be paid. So this is very important point, always keep in mind. There is section 16, which I already told you that date from which the rate of rate and what rate of interest is payable. Section 18 also I told you that the reference has to be made to Micro and Small Enterprises Facilitation Council. So this is also online. This is a good thing. Digital India is working very fast, I suppose, and very fine. Every reference made to MSME FC need to be decided within a period of 90 days from the date of making such reference as per provision laid in the Act. But I would like to just share with you that normally this timeline is not adhered to, because MSC FC has to adhere this timeline, but we have seen that many times this timeline is not adhered to. But we have also seen that in many cases, whenever anybody files a reference to this MSFC, the buyer immediately contacts the seller and try to negotiate, because it's a fear amongst them that now the government has come into picture, so why should we delay the payment. These are the required documents if anybody wants to file any reference to these MSCFC. One is the Udyog Aadhaar number or the Udyam registration now for that purpose. The other is the Aadhaar number or mobile number, and buyer's detail and work orders and invoices. So this is the very important slide, I suppose, because we have mentioned the website address, which is https://samadhan.msme.gov.in. This is the portal, and when anybody wants to file a reference for the MSCFC, they have to go to this Samadhan portal, and they will find that case filing for entrepreneurs /MSC units will be there, so they have to click it, and then the Udyam registration or Udyog Aadhaar number and the Aadhaar number of the proprietor, partner, director or the authorized person is to be filled up. There will be an OTP on the linked mobile number, and when it will be completed, the already pre-filled details of the applicant will be there, because they already registered as Udyam registration, and then buyer's detail need to be filled up, like category of the buyer, individual, company, whatever the constitution is, their name, their email address, their mobile number. So correctly it has to be filled, because the government, these MSCFC will immediately send a notice to them to either pay or to be present before the MSCFC. Then work order and invoices are to be uploaded. Details need to be verified and submit. So these are basically the processes which I just discussed, that log on to msmesamadhan.gov.in, click case filing for entrepreneurs MSC units, Aadhaar number, Udyam registration number you can fill up. You will get OTP. You check your pre-filled details, submit the buyer's detail, upload the work order invoices, and submit it for final submission. Though insolvency and bankruptcy code is not a recovery code, but I'm sure many of my friends will be working under this, maybe under a different category. But though it is not a recovery code, but it has helped many MSMEs to recover their dues. Section 8 and Section 9 of this code, in fact, deals with initiation of CIRP by the operational creditors. Earlier, the default amount was only 1 lakh rupees, and if there is any default of 1 lakh rupee or more, any company, any business was able to file and petition under this code to the Honorable NCLT. Now it has been increased to 1 crore. We are working with the government. We are requesting them for particularly for MSMEs, this limit of 1 crore should be reduced, if not 1 lakh, at least 10 lakh rupees should be done. The other condition is that there should be no pre-existing dispute and buyer need to be a corporate. So these are the 3 conditions, and the process is simple, that send a demand notice giving 10 days time in form number 3. If within 10 days the payment is not received, file an application in form 5 to the Honorable Adjudicating Authority. And the implications are very dangerous, because all the present directors will be suspended when the case is admitted. A professional who may be a chartered accountant will be appointed by Honorable NCLT, named IRP or RP, and the process need to be completed within 180 days, and then even individual insolvency of the directors will also start. So it's a very dangerous thing, and many MSMEs have been able to get their payment under this insolvency and bankruptcy code process. The third very important solution for these delayed paymenting is discounting of bills through TRADS, which is Trade Receivables Electronic Discounting System. I am quite confident that many of my friends will be aware of this TRAD platform because it is an online exchange platform. Everything is online. Whenever any MSME who is a supplier supplies any goods or material or service to the buyer, which I will just let you know that who are the buyers which are there to be registered on TRADS as buyer. These MSMEs need to upload their invoices, and once the buyers accept the bills online, there are many financiers, many lenders on this trade platform who are looking for the accepted invoices and are ready to offer very good rate of interest. They bid and you will get maybe number of bids. You can select it that which lender at which rate of interest you want to discount your bills. And the beauty of this TRADS platform is that it is without recourse, meaning thereby that once the lender discounts the bill, and suppose tomorrow your buyer doesn't make the payment to these lenders on the due date, the lenders cannot come back to the MSMEs saying that, you know, your bill was discounted by us and your buyer has not made the payment, so you pay the payment now. You know, it's without recourse. So there is no recourse on the suppliers. As I was just referring to that, these are the companies which have to register themselves mandatorily on this trade platform. So all central public sector enterprises and all private companies with annual turnover of 500 crore or more are mandated to register themselves on this trade platform as a buyer. Discussions are going on to reduce this 500 crore to 250 crore. So these were the things. As far as no defaulters is concerned, I'll just discuss that maybe at the end. These were some solution for delayed payment to these MSMEs, which you can use for yourself or for your clients. I would now like to discuss some loan schemes because many times your clients may be coming to you and maybe asking that we are on a growth path. We need some funding from the banks, and bankers are not listening to us. So if you will be aware of the schemes, major schemes for financing to these MSMEs, perhaps you will be able to advise them better. I would like to discuss some of the loan schemes being available to these MSMEs. So many times you might have felt that these companies, particularly the small companies or the startups, come to you and they say that they don't have any collateral security, and bankers always ask for the collateral security. So there is a scheme, Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, which is a collateral free loan scheme. The limit of this scheme is 200 lakhs loan. So a loan up to 200 lakhs can be sanctioned. I am quite confident that this 200 lakhs limit need to be increased, and perhaps the government is also discussing to increase this limit, and we can definitely find some big number increase in this 200 lakhs. And this is available to both existing as well as new enterprises, because most of the time, the new entrepreneurs, they discuss कि साहब सब कुछ तो बड़े लोगों के लिए है, existing वालों के लिए है, हमारे लिए तो कुछ है नहीं. So this scheme is available for the new enterprises also, and and the loan is available from all banks, and even the NBFCs are also covered under this CGT-MSE. One very important change was done in this scheme in 2019. Earlier it was that once somebody has taken the loan, say maybe of 2 crore rupees, then they were not eligible to take the additional loan. Now they say that suppose 200 lakhs loan is given to somebody, and the company has, or the business has, enterprise has repaid some portion of out of this 200, and suppose today the balance outstanding is 100 lakhs. So again, the additional amount up to 200 lakhs can be given to. So additional 100 lakhs can be given. So this incremental credit is possible now. This is the website. You can note down, if not available with you, cgtmsc.in, or complete details are available on this site. The another scheme is Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. This is a loan scheme wherein subsidy is also available, and the beauty of this scheme is that only new projects are considered under this PMEGP scheme. Because that is the question normally we face कि हम तो नया ऐसा business शुरू करना चाहते हैं, अभी हमारे लिए क्या है. So some conditions are that age should be 18 years or above. Minimum educational qualification is 8th only. Because ऐसा भी नहीं हो कि बिल्कुल भी पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है और बिजनेस करने आ गए और अपना सब कुछ डुबा दिया. तो some educational minimum qualification has been set, which is 8th only. Subsidy is available along with the loan, and margin is also very low, 10% in case of general enterprises and 5% for special category entrepreneurs. But there is a cap because loan is available, subsidy is available, margin is low, available to the new enterprises. So in case of manufacturing sector, 25 lakhs projects can be considered, and in case of service sector, projects up to 10 lakhs can be considered under this scheme. This is the subsidy. So urban and rural, two types of areas can be there, and then general category and special category. So you can see that subsidy up to 35% is available under this Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. And the very important question sometime, ask that suppose you arrange some PMEGP loan to some of your client and they are doing good, and they come to you कि साहब कर तो अच्छा लिया, लेकिन now what after this 25 lakhs or 10 lakhs. So there is an scheme of upgrading of existing units. So there are certain conditions that if the existing loan is repaid, units are profitable in past 3 years, then this amount which I was referring to, 25 lakhs or 10 lakhs in case of manufacturing or service sector, can be 100 lakhs in case of manufacturing and 25 lakhs in case of service sector. But this is for the upgradation of existing unit which already availed this PMEGP loan. Here the margin money is 10% for all the type of entrepreneurs, be it a special category or a general category. Building cost cannot be 25% of the project cost. So the purpose is that you invest more and more either on machinery or in working capital. And subsidy is 15% of project cost, fixed for urban, rural, general, special, and 20% in hilly area or northern eastern region. Earlier there was a district level task force committee. They were taking interviews, and many times was killed under this interview and sending the applications. Now it has been on a scorecard basis, so anybody can decide at its own whether he or she will be able to get this loan or not based on the scorecard. If the score is 60 plus, then definitely they will be able to get the loan under this scheme. And you can apply online also, udyami.org.in. So this type of scorecard is there, that credit history kya hai, what is the location advantage, and based on everything some points are given, and if the points are more than 60, they can get this loan. This is where you can apply PMEGP loan, kviconline.gov.in/PMEGP portal. So this is the website where anybody can apply online, and then they can track their application also. प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना, बहुत बातें हुई इसके बारे में. So इसमें not much of documents are required, only KYC formalities are required, but loan can be given up to 10 lakhs rupees under Shishu, Kishore or Tarun facilities. And complete details are available at mudra.org.in. Here also anybody can apply online, udyamimitra.in. So I always advise my MSME friend that whenever you want to apply any loan, please apply online. Because आप बैंक जाएंगे तो बैंक मैनेजर आपकी कई बार एप्लीकेशन नहीं भी लेते. There may be their issues also, उनकी भी कुछ समस्याएं हो सकती हैं. There is a scheme called Stand Up India, which is also available to the new enterprises. This is available to SC, ST or women entrepreneurs only. And if there is any doubt that if it's a company, then how to decide that it's a SC, ST or women entrepreneurs company, then it will be based on the shareholding. If the share of SC, ST or women is 51% or more, then it will be classified as an enterprise being run by SC, ST or women entrepreneurs. Each bank branch has been instructed to disburse at least one loan for SC, ST and one loan for women entrepreneur. Here, loan can be between 10 lakhs to 1 crore rupees. It can be for term loan or working capital. There's a basic condition that there should not be any default to any existing bank or financial institution. Here the repayment period is 7 years. With moratorium, you can get up to 18 months. Security can be collateral or guarantee under credit guarantee fund, which I discussed, credit guarantee trust fund for micro, small and medium enterprises. So that scheme can be clubbed with this scheme. Udyamimitra.in, this is the website where you can advise your clients to apply online loan, or standupmitra.in. So these are the two websites where you can advise your clients to apply loan online. This is very important scheme. I would like to draw your attention, in fact, particularly because of the COVID, many units have become NPA. So for the first time, I suppose, friends, the Government of India, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises has come up with a scheme which is called subordinate debt scheme for stressed assets. This scheme was launched by Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and the name is Distress Assets Fund Subordinate Debt for Stressed MSMEs, and it was announced on 24th of June 2020. Here, this is the eligibility criteria for the MSMEs to take the benefit of this scheme. And as I was just referring to for the first time, because normally once the unit is SMA2 or NPA, normally bank doesn't touch these type of units, and there is no possibility of any loan to these units. But now this under this scheme, if there is any stressed company and already classified as SMA2 or NPA as on 30th April 2020, they can be considered for this subordinate debt scheme. And the other conditions are that as I told you that the account is classified as NPA or SMA2 as on 30th April 2020, but they say that account should have been standard as on 31st of March 2018, and there should be regular operations either as standard account or NPA account during financial year 1890 to 1920. After a classification of the business as NPA, there should be some regular operation in the bank account. Not that company has closed totally and now they come to avail finance under this scheme. Fraud accounts and willful defaulters will also not be considered under this scheme. Here the loan amount is 15% of the promoter's stake. When I call the promoter's stake, so it covers the capital of the promoters plus unsecured loans being given by the promoters to the business, and maximum is 75 lakhs rupees. Another important point of this scheme is that the total period will be 10 years. Out of this 10 years, 7 years will be moratorium. So the repayment will be in last 3 years, and first 7 years only interest is to be repaid. The procedure is that based on the investment by the promoters into the company or into the enterprise, they will be given a personal loan, and then they will be asked to invest this personal loan into their businesses as equity, quasi-equity. Meaning thereby that net worth of the company, net worth of the business will also increase. There will be some good ratios into the business, because loan will not be in the name of the businesses. Loan will be in the name of the promoters, and they will invest this fund into company as their equity. And there will be no additional security be required to be given for this loan, because already they will be dealing with some bank or financial institution, and whatever assets are charged for the main loan, second charge will be extended to secure this subordinate debt. Another important issue is that most of these units which have already been classified as NPA maybe, so they might have been issued some recovery notices, maybe under Securitization Act or under some other act. So now all those recovery proceedings shall be withdrawn before starting the process of this subordinate debt. So as I was referring to that, we started some awareness program. So we started this MSME helpline. You can sometime, if time permits, so you can just go sometime at this YouTube channel called MSME helpline. There you will find a lot of short videos, maybe of 5 minutes, 10 minutes on various schemes for MSMEs, because whenever any financial institution introduces any new schemes, or any Ministry of Government of India introduces any scheme for these MSMEs, we try to explain that in simple Hindi, Now we are starting this in 6 other languages, which is Tamil, Telugu, Gujarati, Punjabi, Marathi, one more. We are starting now these awareness videos in 6 more languages. We have already started. We have already posted some videos in Tamil and Gujarati. So soon we'll post more. We started to support these MSMEs a 12 days program. How to decide business and location, type of constitution, all registrations being required by these MSME, definition of MSME Udyam registration, startup definition and registration, how to prepare project report, what are the required documents for loan application, major loan schemes for MSMEs and startup, how to apply for any loan and how to talk to the bank manager, total schemes for the MSMEs, in fact, recovery of due payment from buyers, intellectual property. So these type of topics we have covered. We started one msmekipashala.com. Earlier, there was some fees also. Now we are making it free of cost. So there will be no fees at all, because we want to support the MSME. So it will be available free of cost. In addition to this, we also have one course which is step-by-step process. So for anything, what are the steps being performed, that is also started. In fact, that is also available now, will be available now free of cost without any charges. So it's just a support to these MSMEs. As far as the nodefaulters.com I was referring to, I'll just explain you that this is the website which is called nodefaulters.com. We started this about a month back, and I'm happy to share that more than 682 crore. I should not be happy to see this figure because within a month's time, more than 680 crore defaults have already been registered on this site. It's very simple. So anybody can go to nodefaulters.com and they can report default. Another very important feature of this site is that due diligence is very important, and whenever any MSME or non-MSME wants to start business with somebody, they are stuck up whether they should start the business with the new company, the new buyer or not. There is no proper system of due diligence to be done. Now, what we have done under this nodefaulters.com, that there is a tab, you will be seeing that find defaulters is also there. So when many companies will report default on this, and if anybody wants to find that, how many defaults have been reported against any XYZ company, they can find the defaulters also, that against any company, how many defaults have already been reported, what is the amount, who reported those defaults. So to me, always, I always feel that Sible is there for the financial default, but there is no such portal for operational default. So perhaps this no defaulters can be a composite portal for operational defaults. And as I was referring to, that proper due diligence will also be possible on this nodefaulters.com of your proposed buyers. So system is very simple. So there are 6 steps. Step 1 is register and update with the required documents. Then report default committed by your buyer. Then we'll contact the buyer for the early resolution of the company. You can do due diligence of any proposed customers. And after submitting, you can submit and share within your network, so that it can be like a name and shame type of thing also. And then we'll try to conciliation, negotiation, and arbitration also. And if need be, maybe some another legal actions can be taken, as I was referring to at my initial discussion. So friend, this was all from my side, and I would like to hear more from you. Any questions? It will be my pleasure to learn, in fact, with the questions if you have. So may I just request that in case there are some questions related to this or related to any other subject, which is of importance to MSME sector, I will try to answer those questions to the best of my knowledge and ability. So over to you, sir, please. So you have some questions?
So first question being asked is whether provisions are application with regard when transaction take place between MSME with MSME.
So answer is yes. Buyer can be anybody. So here the only condition in case of MSMED Act is that supplier should be a micro and small enterprises. There can be anybody, any constitution, any sector, MSME, non-MSME. So there is no restriction as regards to the buyer is concerned. So I'm talking about the provisions under the MSMED Act.
Okay. Second question is interest is to be paid automatically even if the buyer does not raise debit in case payment term is 90 days.
Yeah, so as I explained during my address also that as an auditor also, perhaps you all will be aware that whenever you are going to audit any company and you see that there are some dues to be paid to micro, small and medium enterprises. So you need to get this provision of interest wherever there is any due to micro and small enterprises and the payment is due for more than 45 days. One very important issue, I suppose you all will be aware, being the chartered accountant, that the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has introduced a form MSME 1. There also every company has to file this MSME form 1 every 6 months, so 2 times in a year. And the details are to be submitted that which are the MSCs on which payment is due, number of days, interest, reason for non-payment to these MSMEs. So you all will be, getting this compliance done for your clients. So yes, interest to be paid even if nothing is agreed, and after 45 days of the acceptance of the invoice, interest is to be paid and need to be provided in the books of account of the buyer.
Third question is, sir, how we can get clean Sible after getting NDC?
There's a So I suppose there are 2-3 parts of this question. When they are talking about the no due certificate, so no due certificate, perhaps they are talking about, maybe when they paid everything and there is no delay, no default, then there is no issue. The Sible will definitely be, on a higher point mode. But if you get this no due certificate by way of some OTS or one-time settlement, or suppose the dues is 5 crore rupees, you paid 4 crore 90 lakhs rupees, you did some, one-time settlement, the bank has given some relaxation in the interest, in penal interest, or in some cases, even in the principal amount also. And if you get the no due certificate by way of this one-time settlement, then it will be difficult to get this Sible rank to be corrected.
So fourth query is, bank are not interested in Mundra loans. What remedy do we have?
So as I told you, that it's a very vague thing that banks are not interested. So most of the time, what happens, I'll tell you the ground reality. What happens, in fact, whenever anybody wants any Mudra loan, most of the time they are also not aware that for which project they want, what is the loan amount, and what will be the profitability, how they will repay the loan, which machine they want to purchase. So many a time these small enterprises are also not aware. So banks are concerned that whatever loan they give, in fact, to these small businesses under Mudra loan or under, for that purpose, under any scheme, so repayment of the loan is very important. Many a times it may happen that the project is not rightly, correctly presented to the bankers. That may be one reason. Another reason is, there is a fear amongst the bankers about the 3 C's, as we know, CGA, CAG, CBI, police, and a lot many organizations are there, in fact. So that can be a fear. So you have asked that what is the solution? So solution is very clear. You need not to go to the branch, because most of the time the ground reality, whenever we go to the branch, in fact, the branch manager may actually be busy in some other activities in the banking. Because abhi kya dekh rahe hain, banking mein, there are various social schemes being thrown to the bankers, in fact, कि आप ये भी कर दीजिए, जनधन खाता भी खोलिएगा, इस स्कीम में भी काम करिएगा. So he may be busy in some or the other activity. Maybe there may be the auditor in the branch. Maybe some recovery drive is going on. Maybe his loan officer is not available. So what happens, in fact, whenever any borrower or any entrepreneur goes to the branch, so kabhi wo kahega ki saab aaj nahi, aap 15 din baad aana, audit is going on, auditor is sitting on my head, RBI inspection is going on, recovery drive is going on, my loan officer is not here. So best thing is, you please apply online, take a online receipt, and because then your application is login into the system, then you can say that on such and such date I applied this loan, now let me know the outcome of this loan application, and then they will be bound to consider your proposal. Sanction, non-sanction, rejection, that is their prerogative. We can't do much on that. But one thing is clear, that even if a branch manager want to reject any loan proposal, to me, I had been on the board of a public sector bank also. For me, rejection is more difficult than a sanction of any loan, because then they have to note down and are bound to inform to the proposed borrower that what is the reason for declining of the loan application. So always apply online.
Fifth query is, for a proprietary CA firm, can finance facility for services expansion available through these schemes?
Yeah, definitely. So because and most of the banks, what they have some specified special schemes for the professionals, for the doctors, for chartered accountants, for these type of professionals. Many banks have a special scheme, in fact, maybe at a reduced rate of interest, easy loan, because chartered accountants, the bankers also feel that it is difficult for the professionals like chartered accountant to default any loan. They are well educated, know what is to be done. So yes, you can, if you are a chartered accountant, so I suppose banks will welcome you with open heart to give any financial assistance to you.
And the last query is how to correct negative Sible report after paying dues to bank.
So it takes time. As I told you in the earlier query also, Sible is like this, that the number which we get as a Sible rank is combination of many things. In fact, even if somebody approach to say 5-6 banks and they are doing some window shopping, in fact, so if somebody wants 5 crore rupees and they submit their application to 5 banks, 10 banks, and then every bank start getting their Sible report, even if no bank sanction them the loan, their rank will go down. So if there has been any default, it will take very long time to get this Sible score to be at a level where other bankers will be interested to give loan to you.
Okay. So now I'll like to request CA Kirti Joshi sir for vote of thanks.
Thank you. And I, Kirti Joshi, on behalf of Indore branch and CP committee of ICAI, may like to express our sincere thanks to Mukesh Mohan Gupta sir for giving us an excellent coverage on the topic opportunities for chartered accountants in MSME sector. And I truly express my gratitude to Mukesh Gupta sir for accepting our invitation and taking out precious time from his busy schedule. Thank you very much, sir.
So our second faculty here with us is CA Jignesh Kumar Parik sir, who is going to throw some light on nitty-gritty of revision proceeding under section 263 of the income tax. So before proceeding, I would like to give a brief description of the sir. He's a fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. He has an experience of over 11 years in the field of statutory audit of corporate and non-corporate clients, including bank audits. He has delivered lectures on various topics of income tax, including ICDS and accounting standards at various branches of ICAI, Study Circle, and Tax Practitioners Association. He has also worked as chief compiler for the compilation on ICDS issued by Jamnagar branch of WIRC of ICAI during December 2016. He also contributes articles to journals published for members and for the financial year 2016-17 and financial year 19-20. The articles written by him were adjudicated at the best article under direct tax category. He has been appointed as a co-opted member of Direct Tax Committee of Ahmedabad branch of WIRC of ICAI for financial year 17-18 and financial year 2021. He has received certificate of appreciation from Indian Corporate Law Services Academy, Government of India for compilation of reading material on the subject of income tax. So before proceeding, let me tell you around 1400 participants have joined through separate online platform and queries in the last 10 to 15 minutes. So I would like to request sir to carry on the session. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Chairman CP Committee, CA Khamisha Soni ma'am, Honorable Central Council Member and Central Council Member CA CS Nanda sir, CA Kirti Joshi sir, Chairman Indore branch of CIRC of ICAI, my co-faculty for the day Mukesh Mohan Gupta ji, CA Ravit ji, other managing committee members, torchbearers and dignitaries present. At the outset, I convey my sincere thanks to all the organizers for trusting me and giving me an opportunity to deliberate on this interesting and important issue, that is revision under section 263. Before I start, I would second the opinion of my first co-faculty. He said that we are here to learn basically, And that is rightly said by him, because whenever an opportunity to deliver a talk is given, the one person who gets the highest benefit is the faculty himself. So certainly I acknowledge that. I convey my sincere thanks for trusting me. And I always start a session with a note that after becoming a chartered accountant, we normally get opportunity only in two circumstances. Number one, when we get an opportunity to deliver a talk. And number two, when our client gets a show cause notice. So it is always desirable to learn under the first scenario, that is when we are given an opportunity to talk. So with this discussion, with this basic, I'll start with the today's discussion, that is section 263. Now, what we shall be covering in this discussion? First, we would be dealing with the provision in brief. Thereafter, we will be discussing the twin condition, that is as per Malabar Industries judgment. So we will be discussing those twin condition, order being erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. So erroneous and prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Then we would discuss when an order can be considered as an erroneous. Is there something on law? So we will try discussing that. Thereafter, we shall proceed further and discuss that which orders can be a subject matter of revision. Can an order which is an invalid one, with the order which has been declared as an invalid in a further proceedings, can that be a subject matter of revision? Let us say that the order has not been declared as invalid because I have accepted the order because of any reason, but then now I am arguing that boss, agar maine kara hota challenge, then this order would have been bad in law. Now, can on that particular ground the revision proceedings be dropped? Next is we are planning to discuss, we will be discussing what would be a situation in a limited scrutiny. I mean, the order passed when the case is selected under a limited scrutiny. The order is passed, and if the order is passed under a limited scrutiny, can that be a subject matter of revision? Another issue is that another issue is that if the assessment order has been passed under 143.3, thereafter matter is taken up for 147. Now, can that order which has been reassessed, can the order passed under 147 read with 143.3 or 147 read with 144, can that be a subject matter of revision? Or let's say, can an order passed under 153C, can that be a subject matter of revision? Another point which I take up for discussion is, sometimes the orders are being passed with the permission of higher authority when it has been mandated. But sometimes, even if it is not mandated, they take the permission of the higher authority and then the order is being passed with the permission of the higher authority. Now, can such kind of an orders be subject matter of revision? And then end up we'll discuss what is the the merger of the orders. We'll have a discussion on that. And thereafter we'll discuss by what time the assessment order is required to be passed. So this would be the areas which I plan to cover up in this time frame which is allotted to me. Now, this is the area which are going to be covered. Now, a simple issue that from my end is that if you have any doubt, query, if sir you want to stop me at that relevant point of time, you can stop me at that time itself. You can stop me at that particular point of time itself. I would answer the question at same time itself. Or if you wish, you can accumulate a query. We can answer. We can answer the queries, maybe post the session, the way it is convenient to you. I am comfortable with both the ways. And another small request is, sir, आप अपना camera on रखिएगा so that I can have someone, I have a feeling कि कोई मुझे सुन रहा है. So thank you very much, sir. आप अपना camera खाली on रखिएगा. चलो, with this discussion, I am starting with the topic, that is section 263. Let us first read the section per se. Just a second, I guess. I hope so my screen is visible. So I guess my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now what does the provision talk about? Let us first deal with the section. What does it talk about? Principal chief commissioner or a chief commissioner or a principal commissioner or a commissioner may call for and examine the records of proceedings under this act, and if he considers that any order passed therein by the assessing officer is erroneous insofar as it is prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, he may, after giving assessee an opportunity of being heard and after making or causing to be made such inquiry as he deems necessary, pass such order thereon as the circumstances of the case justify, including an order enhancing, modifying assessment or cancelling the assessment and directing a fresh assessment. So this is what the section is, and our job is to interpret each and every word. The first portion which I mentioned, the principal commissioner, principal commissioner, the principal chief commissioner or chief commissioner, principal commissioner or commissioner, will say the authority, the relevant, the competent authority. The competent authority may call for and examine the records of any proceedings under the act. Now, of course, as I mentioned, we would first discuss with the twin condition. What are the twin conditions? The order should be erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. We all know that the order has to be erroneous. So Malabar Industries has said that, Malabar Industries Company Limited, the 109 Taxman 66, Supreme Court has said that two conditions are required to be satisfied. The condition number one, that the order has to be erroneous and it has to be prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Both these conditions are required to be satisfied cumulatively. So let us say the order is erroneous but not prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Alternatively, the order is prejudicial to the interest of the revenue but not erroneous. Both the conditions are not satisfied. Only one of the conditions are being satisfied. Here, revision under section 263 is not permissible. Both the conditions are required to be satisfied. Now, when an order is said to be an erroneous, when the order is said to be prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, I will come to that in a little while from now. So now, first of all, let us understand these two basic conditions. Of course, I would say that one cannot say that these are the only two conditions which are required to be met. We will discuss there are so many other conditions which are required to be satisfied before going into section 263. But as of now, let us start with this basic standard two conditions. The assessment order has to be erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. There has to be an error and prejudice to the interest of the revenue. Now, let us take an example that a particular order is erroneous but not prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. How can this be a situation? I'll give you a situation based on the decision of my own Ahmedabad ITAT. What has happened in this particular case is that, let us say A and B, two persons are the owner of the property. Now, the A has filed return, B has also filed return. A has said that A's return of income got accepted. Now, in B's case also, return got accepted, assessment is being done. Assessment is done accepting the return income. Thereafter, PCIT took up the matter for a revision and the competent authority took up the matter for the revision and said that, boss, Mr. B, your share in the property was not, let's for imagination purpose, was not, let's say 20%, it was 60%. So, your sales consideration would go up by 40%, your cost of acquisition would go up by 40%, and finally your capital gain would go up by 40%. Certainly, the point of the concerned competent authority was well taken, it was a correct point. And that has not been considered by the learned AO while passing the order. So one can conclude that certainly the order is erroneous. Certainly the order is erroneous. But the point is, did it really cause any prejudice to the interest of the revenue? Sir, अगर मान लो मैं और आप दोनों एक प्रॉपर्टी में पार्टनर हैं, आपका शेयर है 40%, मेरा शेयर है 60%. अब ईओ बोल रहा है नहीं मिस्टर जिग्नेश योर शेयर इज 80%. So if you are increasing my share from 60% to 80%, obviously your share has to be reduced from 40% to 20%. So ultimately the total amount on which the tax has come to a revenue, that has come to the same. There is no prejudice which has been caused to the revenue. So despite the order is erroneous, no prejudice has been caused to the revenue. Since no prejudice has been caused to the revenue, even though the order is erroneous, it cannot be considered as, this case cannot be taken up for revision under section 263. And this is the decision which has been taken by the Ahmedabad ITAT in the case of Srimati Avni Sailesh Bhai Mehta. In the case of the Srimati Avni Sailesh Bhai Mehta, this decision has been taken. Ahmedabad ITAT. Now, coming to the another condition. The order we discussed, the order was erroneous, but not prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Now we will discuss an order which was prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, but it was not an erroneous order. Now what has happened is that in a particular case, now I am discussing the another case law. Whatever examples, sir, I would give, they are examples from the case law only. My numbers may be imaginary, A and B, the parties may be imaginary, but they all are the examples. They are the case law, reported case law only. And all the case laws which I am going to discuss here, they all are in my particular document, which would be shared with you, sir, post the session. So each and every judgment which I am discussing right now, it would be there in the document. So what I'm trying, now coming to this another case law, what has happened is that assessment was going on in a particular case, and the dispute was with respect to the interpretation of the term profit under section 80 HHC. Now, we are not here to discuss what is 80 HHC. But then at the relevant point of time, that section 80 HHC and what is the meaning of profit, there were lots of views were prevailing, the multiple views were prevailing, and the AO took the view which was benefiting the assessor. Thereafter, law was amended with a retrospective effect, and in that particular amendment, whatever the amendment took place, they said that profit would include the loss. And ultimately, the view taken by the AO turned out to be a wrong view because of the subsequent amendment. So PCIT said that was it is an order erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue matter traveled to Honorable Supreme Court. Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Max India Limited 2008 166 Taxman 188, Supreme Court has held that subsequent amendment in law, even though retrospective, will not attract the provisions of section 263, particularly when as one has to take into account the position of law as it stood on the date when the commissioner passed the order under section 263. What do they say? They say that one has to check the when the order was passed under section 263, when the order was passed under section 143.3, what was the situation? Whether that, but what was the law as on the day on which 143.3 order was passed? At that point of time, the court in a detailed judgment has held that there were a lot of debates going on with respect to the term profit. Even section 80 HHC was amended roughly by 11 or 12 times. So profit के ऊपर तो बहुत से discussion थे. So out of two views, AO has taken a view which is favoring to the assessee. Now in a जब उन्होंने decision लिया, जब उन्होंने 143.3 का order करा, क्या उस वक्त तो कोई amendment था? The answer is no. तो उसके बाद जब कोई amendment आता है, भले retrospective effect से आता है, this will not come here. This will not be affecting. This will not. This will not. I would say, make the order bad in law. This will not make an order erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of revenue. So the prejudice has been caused to the department, but then there is no error on the part of the AO. Meaning thereby, two conditions are to be seen. Order has to be erroneous, and second, that error should cause prejudice. The error should be prejudicial to the interest. Meaning thereby, some loss should be caused to the revenue on account of that particular error. Now this leads towards a situation that when can we say that the order is erroneous? When can we say that the order is erroneous? Sir, section 263 में आगे चल के उन्होंने explanation में बताया, they added the second explanation and they said that on or after 1st June 2015, the order passed by the assessing officer shall be deemed to be erroneous insofar as it is prejudicial to the interest of the revenue if, in the opinion of the principal chief commissioner or chief commissioner or principal commissioner or commissioner, if any of the four situations are if the order falls in any of the four situations, अगर चार में से एक भी जगह पर आप fall हुए, the order would be considered as erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. The order is passed without making inquiries or verification which should have been made. I'll come to that. Now they say that the order is passed without making inquiries. Now, once again, one has to be clear about the adequacy of the inquiry. Now, it cannot be challenged on the ground of the adequacy of the inquiry because, sir, I would have made an inquiry from my as an assessing officer. I might have tested from 100 different angles. You are my boss, and you may find out the 5 different angles from which I should have checked it. So that should not be a criteria. The order is passed without making an inquiry or verification which should have been made. So here, though they say that which should have been made. Now, this cannot be interpreted to mean that I have made from 50 and the other 5 and the other 5 points my senior brings in, and they said you have not checked from this 5 points. This cannot be the graph. Second, I will discuss a case law on that as well. Second, the order is passed allowing any relief without inquiring into the claim. Third, the order has been made in accordance with the order has not been made in accordance with any order, direction or instruction issued by the board under section 119. The board ने कोई circular issue करा हुआ है, कोई direction करा हुआ issue, और आपने उसके अंतर्गत order नहीं करा तो भी गलत है. The order has not been passed in accordance with any decision which is prejudicial to the interest of the assessee rendered by the jurisdictional high court or Supreme Court in the case of the assessee or any other person. So now let us discuss those conditions. They say that an order is said to be erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, if the inquiries have not been made by you. Now let us discuss a case of Honorable Karnataka High Court. The Karnataka High Court has decided this matter on 21st December 2020 in the case of K. Satyanarayana, ITA number 192 of 2015, dated 21st December 2020. Now, what has really happened in this particular case? Actually, इस particular case में क्या हुआ था? The assessee filed a return of income. Assessee ने उस साल में कुछ property बेची थी. Assessee was a document writer और उसका कुछ xerox का भी काम था. अब उन्होंने कुछ प्रॉपर्टी बेची थी और उन्होंने अपने रिटर्न में उस पर्टिकुलर प्रॉपर्टी को बताया था ये मेरा कैपिटल गेन है. ठीक है, कोई नहीं. और मतलब बिजनेस इनकम था, वो डॉक्यूमेंट राइटर, मतलब रिलेटिंग टू द प्रॉपर्टी इश्यूज, तो डॉक्यूमेंट राइटर, और उसने बताया कैपिटल गेन. चलो कोई नहीं. अब बात आई असेसमेंट में एओ ने केस टेकन अप फॉर असेसमेंट. ड्यूरिंग द असेसमेंट, नाउ व्हाट असेसी हैज सेड दैट सर इट इज नॉट माय कैपिटल गेन इनकम, इट इज माय बिजनेस इनकम. I am a document writer and I am a document writer. I am writing a document and relating to property. I am buying and selling property. This is my business only. It is my business income. You accepted this claim and passed an order under 143(3) by assessing the income from the sale of the property as business income. Sir, facts clear hai? Right? अब आगे चलते. 263 में the competent authority under section 263 has said that, boss, you have not made any inquiries onto this. How can you say that the assessee has look at the assessee has filed return of income declaring the income from the sale of the property under that capital gain, और आपने क्या करा? अच्छा, assessee ने खुद आके बोल दिया assessment ने कि नहीं ये तो मेरा business income है, आपने मान लिया. This order is without any inquiry, no adequate inquiry have been made. We will not accept this particular order. It is erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. It was challenged before the ITAT. ITAT ने कहा principal commissioner is right, the competent authority is right. Why? Because he has made a detailed inquiry. What inquiry he has made? He has made a detailed inquiry. उन्होंने कहा देखो, उन्होंने रिटर्न चेक करा, उन्होंने रिटर्न चेक करके बताया, क्या बताया कि सर, और आपका बैलेंस शीट चेक करके बताया, फर्स्ट ये जो प्रॉपर्टी आपका था, ये प्रॉपर्टी आपने बैलेंस शीट में ट्रेडिंग एसेट नहीं बताया था. It was not there in the trading asset. It was वो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट या फिक्स एसेट में बोल रहा था. आप बोल रहे हैं बिजनेस इनकम है तो बैलेंस शीट में ट्रेडिंग एसेट में होना चाहिए, वो नहीं था. नंबर 2, रिटर्न में आपने खुद उसको कैपिटल क्लेम करा हुआ. नंबर 3, भूतकाल में भी आपने एक प्रॉपर्टी बेचा था, उसको भी आपने कैपिटल गेन बताया था. तो अब कैसे बोलोगे बिजनेस इनकम? तो प्रिंसिपल CIT has applied his mind, and this order is certainly an erroneous order. It is an erroneous order insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Now matter travel to High Court. Before the High Court, assessee argued that, sir, wait, in the assessment proceedings we were issued a questionnaire. The questionnaire was containing 36 points. It was a 36-point questionnaire, and out of 36-point questionnaire, 2 points were precisely dealing with the head of the income, which we have answered, and AO has accepted it. When we have answered the questions which has been accepted by the AO, now the order cannot be considered as an erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, because he has inquired into it. Yes, he has made the inquiry. It is not the case the order is passed without making an inquiry. He has made the inquiry. We have reverted to that particular matters, and accordingly the order has been passed. The High Court agreed with this view, and High Court in the order has held that when the assessing officer has conducted sufficient inquiry as required under explanation 2A to section 263 of the Act, and there was material available on record to arrive at a conclusion which was recorded by the assessing officer, the Commissioner of the Income Tax was precluded from exercising his power under section 263 of the Act Direct Judgment Honorable Karnataka High Court. We have one more judgment of Mumbai Tribunal. वहां पर भी उन्होंने कुछ ऐसा ही कहा हुआ है. They said that merely because the issue was not elaborately discussed in the quantum assessment order. कई बार क्या होता है, assessment order is a two-pager order. Return income has been accepted. तो जरूरी नहीं कि every single thing which is made a part of the assessment order. Normally assessment order में जो dispute होता है वही उसका part होता है. I have filed my response. You are not agreeing to you are agreeing to 10 issues out of 15. You are not agreeing to 5 issues. You are making only those 5 issues as a part of the assessment order. तो आप उसी 5 इश्यू को असेसमेंट ऑर्डर का पार्ट बनाते हो. तो अगर 10 इश्यू जो हुए थे अगर डिस्कस हुए हैं लेकिन केवल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर का पार्ट नहीं है, उस ग्राउंड के ऊपर आप ये नहीं बोल सकते ऑर्डर वाज एरोनियस merely because the issue was not elaborately discussed in the quantum assessment order. It could not be a ground of invoke revisional jurisdiction under section 263 of the Act, particularly when details called by the assessing officer were submitted and placed on record. Similar one judgment we have of the Gujarat High Court in the case of the Kamal Galani 95 taxman.com 261. So this is the first thing that we have discussed. When an order is considered as erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. So now let us summarize this. Number A, if I have made an inquiry on the issue, then the order cannot be treated as an erroneous. Now wait for a minute. I have made an inquiry, I have concluded something based on my inquiry, but what I have concluded is either a wrong application of law or a wrong interpretation of a law, or if it is wrong assumption of fact, then the order would be considered as an erroneous despite I have made a detailed inquiry into it. The first ingredient is that the assessing officer should have inquired into it. Number A, yes, he has inquired. Number 2, based on an inquiry, he has concluded something. Number 2, the something that he has concluded, it should not be against the settled legal position. I mean, against the judgment delivered by the jurisdictional high court against the assessee, or it should not be against the decision of the Honorable Supreme Court, which has been delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court against the against any other assessee. Matlab, for an example, if I talk about let's for a time being, let's say I discussed that Gujarat High Court in the case of Gujarat State Road Transport Corporation has taken a view that if the PF employee's contribution of PF and ESIC, if it is deposited after the due date of filing, after the due date prescribed under relevant act, then it would be added to the income. Benefit of section 43B will not be available. Now, no doubt, Rajasthan High Court is in the favor, Delhi is in the favor somewhere, Bombay High Court is in the favor, Karnataka High Court is in the favor, Kerala is against. Now, despite here, one can say two views are available. AO has taken a view, might be allowing me in my favor. He has made a detailed inquiry. But understand, the Gujarat High Court, in the case of an assessee of a Gujarat, it is against assessee. So despite assessee has made a detailed inquiry, AO has made a detailed inquiry, he has come to a conclusion, but that conclusion is against the ruling of the jurisdictional high court, which is delivered against the assessee. Hence, in that particular case, order would be considered as an erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. So we have discussed, so what we have concluded is that the twin condition, the order has to be erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. When an order can be said to be erroneous, we have got 4 situations given under the explanation of section 263. We have discussed that as well. We have discussed that inquiry part as well. Now, coming to the section again. The section again, so now coming to the section. When I started my talk, I started with a note that are there only 2 conditions which are required to be satisfied? Sir, ये 2 कंडीशन ही है जिसको सेटिस्फाई करना है, और कोई कंडीशन नहीं है. तो आइए अब पढ़ते हैं सेक्शन को और देखते हैं कौन से कंडीशनों को सेटिस्फाई करना. अच्छा, बिफोर आई गो ऑन टू दैट, नॉर्मली इट इज प्रिज्यूम कि ओनली द असेसमेंट ऑर्डर आर सब्जेक्ट मैटर ऑफ रिवीजन. सर, this is not the case. Let us read the section. Principal Chief Commissioner or Chief Commissioner or Principal Commissioner or Commissioner may call for and examine the record of any proceeding under the Act, and if it considers that the order passed thereon by the assessing officer. The order passed by the assessing officer. So any order which has been passed by the assessing officer, it is not necessary that the order passed by the assessing officer has to be an assessment order. It may be a penalty order. It may be an order declaring an assessee as assessee in default. It may be an order passed granting a stay. It may be order passed under a 154 rectification order. It could be any order that would be covered. Normally we take it as the thing which comes to us normally is that the assessment order, not necessarily assessment order only. Any order which the assessing officer is passing, that would be covered here. So what does they say? Competent authority may call for and examine the records of any proceedings under the Act, and if he considers that the order passed by the assessing officer is erroneous in so far as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. So any order passed by the assessing officer, that is going to be covered. Any which ways. I'll come to the term order per se in a little while from now, but before that, we were talking about the other ingredients to be satisfied. Sir, the section goes this way. The competent authority may call for and examine what? Record. May call for and examine and may call for and examine the record of any proceeding. So the two things are important. The two things are important here. May call and examine. So he has to call and examine what? Record of any proceeding. So the two things are required to be satisfied here. He has to examine and what he has to examine? The record he has to examine. Now why do I discuss that? Sir, normally क्या होता है बहुत सारी जगह पर assessing officer is sending a proposal to the commissioner, or assessing officer is sending a proposal to the commissioner, and the commissioner, based on that particular proposal submitted by the assessing officer, goes for a revision under section 263. Now the precise issue is, can based on a proposal of the AO, the revision under section 263 is possible? The precise issue is, can based on an audit objection, revision under section 263 is possible? The precise issue is, can based on a note of a JCIT, ACIT, the revision under section 263 is possible? Now let us read it. The section says that competent authority may call and examine. May call and examine. So he has to call and he has to examine. He has to call and he has to examine. So he has to, now agree, not necessary that I may call, the things may come to me straight away. That is not an issue to me. It may come to me straight away. That is never an issue. That is never an issue to me. My point is, I should call, it should come to me. I should examine what? Record. Now what has been given to me? What has been given to me, sir? I have been given the proposal by the AO, or I have been given an audit objection. Can a proposal be given to me by an AO, or can an audit objection given to me by the AO, can that be treated as a record? So two things are more erroneous, prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. वो तो है ही है. Apart from this, he has to call for and examine what? Record. So the point is, if reopening has been carried out simply based on the audit objection or a pro forma prepared by the AO, then certainly it is not valid, because it is not considered as record. But at the same point of time, let us say that what has been given to the assessee, what has been given by assessing officer, maybe to PCIT, that this is a pro forma, and they, after perusing that, if the PCIT calls for the assessment records, examines those assessment records, and then initiates 263, we don't have a problem. Then it is a valid one. I'm sorry. Then it is a valid one. But if what he does, he simply based on a pro forma, he permits 263. That is not possible. Now he would say that I have got an audit objection. It is a detailed document. It is a record. Sir, this is not considered as record. I am sorry. Let us go to that relevant particular part to have a better clarity on that. Now, meaning of record. What is a record? Record shall include and shall be deemed always to have included all records related to any proceedings under the Act available at the time of the examination by the Principal Commissioner or Chief Commissioner or Principal Commissioner or Commissioner. This is the definition of the record. Now, can we say that the audit objection is the record? The answer is no. Now we have direct judgment on this issue. The first issue that we have is Jaswinder Singh 2013 31taxman.com 80 Chandigarh Tribunal. What does this say? The provisions of section 263 are clear and absolute that the power is to be exercised by the commissioner from the examination of the records of the proceedings under the act. The explanation under 263 defines records as all records relating to any proceedings under the act available at the time of the examination of the commissioner. The audit objection under no circumstances be called as a record, empowering the commissioner to exercise jurisdiction under section 263. Further, it is apparent that the commissioner has initiated the revision proceedings only on the basis of the audit objection. Such exercise of the power under 263 is not tenable in law. According to the order passed by the commissioner under section 263 is to be set aside. That is a direct judgment of Chandigarh Tribunal. Sir, एक और judgment है Punjab and Haryana High Court. That is in the case of the Sohana Woolen Mills 2008 296 ITR 238. Punjab and Haryana High Court, and similar view has been taken. Right now, coming to the another judgment, Alpha Level AB ITA number 1287. Once again, it is Pune Tribunal 2017. It is a decision delivered probably on the 1st of this decision was delivered somewhere on probably 1st November 2021 का ये decision है. और इस केस में क्या हुआ था सर? इस केस में वो ऑडिट परफॉर्मेंस देखिए सीआईटी को दे दिया था और सीआईटी ने उसके बेस पर रीओपन करा. Here the ITAT has come up directly on this. It is a treated law that a power which vests exclusively in one authority can't be invoked or forced to be invoked by another, either directly or indirectly. Power to revise is there with the PCIT, CIT. They cannot be invoked by others. Section 263 of the Act confers the powers on the CIT to revise an assessment order subject to certain conditions. As the revision proceedings in this case have been triggered with the AO sending a proposal to the CIT, to the learned CIT, and then the later passing the order under section 263 of the Act on the basis of such proposal, we hold that it becomes a case of the jurisdictional deficit resulting into the vitiating the impugned order. Without going into the merits of the case, we quash the impugned order on the legal on this legal issue itself. और भी दो judgment available है on the similar issue. We have got one Calcutta High Court and another is Visakhapatnam ITAT on the similar line. So this is what we have discussed, is that based on audit objection, this cannot be done. So now once again coming to the original section which says that the competent authority may call for and examine the record of any proceedings under the Act, and if he considers the order passed then by the assessing officer is erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. So what he has to do is he has to call for and examine, and that to a record. So over and above the two conditions of erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, we have another two conditions on this particular issue as well. Now, coming to the another issue. If the competent authority may call for and examine the record of any proceedings under the Act, and if he considers that any order passed therein by the assessing officer. Now I am coming to the concept of order. Sir, अब one by one discuss करते हैं. मान लो, सबसे पहली चीज मान लेते हैं, एक ऑर्डर पास हुआ. वो ऑर्डर पास होता है लिमिटेड स्क्रूटिनी के अंतर्गत. My case was selected for a limited scrutiny, and in a limited scrutiny matter, the issue was that I have deposited a cash in a bank account. AO asked me various questions relating to the cash deposit. I answered the question relating to the cash deposit as well. Now, he passed an order accepting my return income without making any deviation to that. Now, later on, PCIT revised the order on the ground that, or sought to revise the order on the ground that, I have made claim of exemption under section 54B, and that has not been examined. Now, sir, when a case has been taken up for a limited scrutiny, obviously the point that needs to be examined is the issue for which the case has been taken up under a limited scrutiny. I don't say that you cannot examine the other issue. You can certainly examine the other issue. That comes to your knowledge after taking a prior approval of the competent authorities. That is anyway there. We are not commenting on that. But primarily my focus would be to discuss the particular issue. When there is no error in that particular issue for which the case has been taken up for a reassessment, when the case was taken up for an assessment, when there was no issue, no error on that, certainly in that particular case, revision under section 263 cannot be made. So the first thing that we have discussed is if the order is subject to limited scrutiny, this cannot be subject matter of revision. If the issue, the answer can be yes, it can be subject to revision provided this issue ke upar hi mera let us take an example. The case was that verification of income under that capital gain. If that was the issue, and then 54B claim has not been examined into and relief has been granted to me, certainly it is an erroneous order. So what is my concern here is, what is my contention before the August gathering is, my contention before the August gathering here is that what is to be checked, what is to be considered here is that if the assessment order is for a limited scrutiny, the issue on which the order has been selected, no additions have been made on those particular issue. AO has not sought any kind of a prior approval for the purpose of other issues, and finally the assessment order is passed accepting the written income, or might be by making some additions with respect to that particular issue itself for which the case was selected for scrutiny. Now the CID finds that the order is erroneous in so far as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, because a particular aspect, some other aspect is not connected with the issue for which the case was selected for scrutiny has not been examined. On that particular count, the order cannot be considered as an erroneous order. So we have judgments available in the case of the Navneet Pratap Tyagi, ITA number 1639, Delhi ITET 2018. The order is dated 23rd November 2021. We have similar judgment available in the case of Tejpal Badarwal, ITA number 463, Chandigarh 2019. It is dated 13th May 2021. तो इन दोनों केसेस में वही इशू था, केस लिमिटेड स्क्रूटिनी के लिए आया था, लिमिटेड स्क्रूटिनी में जो इशू था वो तो असेस हो गया, बात खत्म हो गई. अब पीसीआईटी ने बोला कि नहीं आपने ये एक दो पॉइंट और नहीं देखे, देन दिस कैन नॉट बी अ ग्राउंड फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ मेकिंग अ रिवीजन. और भी बहुत सारे जजमेंट ऑन दिस इशू है, व्हिच आई हैव गिवन इन दिस पर्टिकुलर डॉक्यूमेंट फॉर द रेफरेंसेस ऑफ द यूजर. तो ये तो पहली बात हो गई कि लिमिटेड स्क्रूटिनी वाली बात होगी. अब बात करते हैं, एक असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास हुआ, मैंने वो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर एक्सेप्ट भी कर लिया. सर, एक असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास होता है और मैं वो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर जो है उसे एक असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास हुआ, मैं उस असेसमेंट ऑर्डर को एक्सेप्ट भी कर लेता हूं, कोई इश्यू नहीं है मुझे, बिकॉज माय रिटर्न इनकम हैज बीन एक्सेप्टेड. नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज दैट द पीसीआईटी कम्स एंड पीसीआईटी seeks to revise the order passed under 143(3) under section 263. अब मैं रिविजनल प्रोसीडिंग्स को चैलेंज करता हूं आईटीईटी और आईटीईटी में जाके मैं ये कहता हूं सर कि ये तो ठीक है, मैंने ऑर्डर एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, लेकिन अगर मैंने आर्ग्यू करा होता तो ये ऑर्डर बैड इन लॉ था. राइट? आई होप सर माय पॉइंट इज क्लियर. सो my point is the order was passed under 143(3). Maybe for that reason you can say my order was passed under 147 right with 143(3). My order is passed under 147 right with 143(3). I have accepted that order. I have not gone beyond that because my return income has been accepted. No problems. I was doing that the order is bad in law. I would have challenged it. But then I didn't challenge it. I accepted it because there was no deviation in the income. Why should I go and why should I challenge that particular order? Right? I didn't do that. So I didn't do that. Now 263 came. Now what is to be done? Now in the 263 matter, which was before the ITAT, I said that the order is bad in law. The order is bad in law, it deserves to be quashed. Department would say, भाई साहब, आप 147 का मैटर आर्ग्यू नहीं कर रहे हो, आप 143(3) का मैटर आर्ग्यू नहीं कर रहे हो, आप 263 का मैटर आर्ग्यू कर रहे हो. मतलब यहाँ पे दो चीजें सामने आती हैं, पहली चीज तो ये कि क्या ये कोलेटरल प्रोसीडिंग के अंदर 260 कोलेटरल प्रोसीडिंग्स में क्या 143(3), 147 या 140(53)(c) के असेसमेंट को चैलेंज किया जा सकता है, नहीं किया जा सकता. The matter is not 153(c). The matter is not before this is not a 153(c) matter. This is not a 147 matter. This is not a 143(3). It is a 263 matter. ये collateral proceedings है. Can that be done? The answer is yes, it can be done. Bombay ITET has taken a view that even in a collateral proceedings, the the validity of that particular order, which is subject matter of revision, that can be challenged. So this is the decision which has been taken by the honorable. This decision has been taken by the honorable Bombay Tribunal, and it is in the case of Westlife Development Limited versus PCIT 49 ITR and 406. So ITT Mumbai bench in this particular case, it held that allowing an appeal that the jurisdictional aspect of the order passed in the primary proceedings can be examined in a collateral proceedings as well. The assessment could be permitted to be challenged. The assessor could be permitted to challenge the validity of the order passed under 263 on the ground that the assessment was non-honest. Now please note that मैं जब ये ग्राउंड पे चैलेंज करूंगा तो वो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर डिलीट नहीं हो जाएगा, वो क्वॉश नहीं हो जाएगा, वो तो रहेगा, लेकिन क्योंकि वो दैट डिजर्व्स टू बी डिलीटेड वाला है, वो डिलीट करा होता तो डिलीट हो गया होता. यहां पर ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर ग्राउंड 263 कैनॉट बी मेड. Now let us discuss few case laws on that particular aspect directly. We have got one judgment of the Raipur Tribunal. The judgment is in the case of Minimax Commerce Private Limited 2021-133 taxman.com 188. सर ये केस में क्या हुआ था, ये इंटरेस्टिंग मैटर है. इसमें क्या हुआ था, केस वाज ट्रांसफर्ड फ्रॉम कोलकाता टू रायपुर. अब जब कोलकाता टू रायपुर केस ट्रांसफर, आपको पता है कि अगर केस ट्रांसफर होता है सेक्शन 127 में कमिश्नर साहब का ऑर्डर होता है, उसके बाद ही केस ट्रांसफर होता है. अब कमिश्नर साहब ने ऑर्डर पास करा था और लिखा था कि केस इज गोइंग टू बी ट्रांसफर्ड विद इमीडिएट इफेक्ट. जैसे केस इमीडिएट इफेक्ट से ट्रांसफर हो गया, उसके बाद क्या किया 143 क्या किया कलकत्ता वाले साहब ने 143(2) का प्रोसीडिंग्स उन्होंने इशू करा था, वही ड्रॉप द 143(2) प्रोसीडिंग्स. देन मैटर केम टू रायपुर. Raipur ITO assessed the income. He assessed the income at a returned income only, no deviation. So assessee accepted. Now PCIT sought to revise this particular order. Now it was argued by the assessee before the Raipur tribunal that सर जब आप मेरा केस ट्रांसफर हुआ कलकत्ता से रायपुर 127 अंतर्गत, उसके बाद assessing officer should have issued, the Raipur ITO should have issued another fresh notice of 143(2), which he has really not issued. He has passed an assessment order without issue of a notice under section 143(2), and when the order has been passed without issue of a notice under 143(2), the order itself is bad in law. He has continued based on a notice which has been passed by Calcutta ITAT. The Calcutta ITO. उन्होंने कलकत्ता ITO के ऑर्डर के बेस के ऊपर ही अपना काम चालू कर दिया. वो गलत है सर, वो आप नहीं कर सकते. आपको फ्रेश नोटिस इशू करना था, आपने नहीं करा. The Raipur ITAT said yes, the order deserves to be passed. Since the order itself is bad in law, now no, this cannot be a subject matter of revision under section 263. We have one more judgment. It is a Supersonic Technologies Private Limited, Delhi ITA 2269 Delhi 2017, dated 10th December 2018. Sir, ये बहुत ही बढ़िया डिसीजन है. I would recommend that the text of this judgment needs to be read. 65 पन्नों का जजमेंट है, बहुत ही सीनियर एडवोकेट्स ने, बहुत ही लर्नेड एडवोकेट्स ने आर्ग्यू करा हुआ मैटर है, बहुत ही डिटेल्ड में आर्ग्यू है. और ये आप जब पढ़ेंगे, ये ऑर्डर 65 बंदों का ऑर्डर है सर, और इसमें 3-4 मैटर कवर्ड करें. ये आप पढ़ेंगे 263 वो तो होगा ही होगा, 263 के लिए ही है, लेकिन 147 भी कवर हो जाएगा, 147 के भी कुछ पॉइंट्स कवर हो जाएंगे. अब ये केस में क्या हुआ था, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द सुपरसोनिक टेक्नोलॉजीज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. सर ये केस में क्या हुआ था, आई विल टेल यू what has happened in this particular case is that assessment was passed without issue of a notice under 143(2). Assessment order was accepted by the AO. Now matter taken up for 263. Assessee said that, boss, you have passed an assessment without issue of a notice under 143(2). We are aware that if the matter is taken up for 147, if I have filed a return of income in response to a notice issued under 148, then it is mandatory on the part of, if I have filed a valid return, of course, it is mandatory on the part of the assessing officer to issue a notice under section 143(2), and then only he can proceed for the assessment. Now he has completed the assessment without passing an order under section 143(2), despite I have filed a valid return of income. In that particular case, assessment is bad in assessment. The assessment order is bad in law. Now that bad in law, I have not challenged it. I have not challenged that order. I have accepted the order. Now you are carrying out 263 based on that particular order, finding it prejudicial to the interest, erroneous so far as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Now this order is challenged on this particular ground that the order अगर challenge करा होता तो bad in law था. Collateral proceedings में primary proceedings को challenge करा गया और यहाँ पर ये decision आया, boss, this order is bad in law. It cannot be a subject matter of revision. इसी केस के अंदर मैंने कहा 2-3 मैटर थे, तो दूसरा मैटर इसी केस के अंदर था, वो ये था SPJ होटल्स लिमिटेड न्यू दिल्ली. ये इसी केस के अंदर है, 65 पन्नों के अंदर, इसीलिए मुझे मैंने आई रेड द जजमेंट, आई फाउंड इट ब्यूटीफुल दैट इट शुड बी इट मे बी द इट मे बेनिफिट, तो मैंने यहाँ पे ये ले लिया, क्योंकि भले मेरा इश्यू 263 है, मुझे बोलना 263 के ऊपर ही है, लेकिन ये 147 के भी इंटरेस्टिंग एस्पेक्ट्स कवर करता है। तो जिन लोगों को दिल्ली ट्राइब्यूनल का जुरिस्डिक्शन अप्लाई होता है, सर्टिंग आप अप्लाई कर सकते हो, और भी जो दिल्ली से नहीं है, अलग जगह पर है, जहां जिनको इंदौर ट्राइब्यूनल अप्लाई होता है, कोई और ट्राइब्यूनल लागू हो रहा है, वो भी इस जजमेंट का यूज कर सकते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। अब इस केस में क्या हुआ था सर, इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट ये है, द असेसमेंट ऑर्डर वाज पास्ड, देन द केस वाज रीओपन ऑन द ग्राउंड दैट I have received a share application money from two entities, A and B, 5 lakh, and they are accommodation entries. Now, based on that, my case is taken up for a reassessment. 148 notice was issued. तो मैटर कितने का था सर, 5 लाख रुपए का था, 10 लाख रुपए, उन्होंने असेसमेंट एडिशन कर दिया 20 लाख रुपए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है सर, हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं, 20 लाख कर दिया, कुछ कमीशन का एक्सपेंस भी ऐड कर दिया, हमें उसमें भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, दैट इज सो फार सो गुड। आपने करा, हमने ऑर्डर एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। अब पीसीआईडी साहब ने कहा कि सर दिस ऑर्डर इज erroneous in so far as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue। क्यों? कि वो दो जो आदमी थे ना, ए और बी, वो 5-5 लाख नहीं थे, 50-50 लाख थे, वो 50-50 लाख रुपए का था। तो क्या देखा, इट इज erroneous in so far as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue। The assessee said that सर अगर ये erroneous in so far as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, तो रुकिए एक मिनट, जब आपने रीजंस इश्यू करे तब क्या देखा? The validity of the assessment order lies, assessment order passed under 147, dated 143.3. The validity, the foundation lies with the notice issued under 147. When under 148, by recording a reason. When there was no application of mind while recording a reason, when the record reasons itself have been recorded without application of mind, when you have recorded reason without application of mind, how can the reassessment proceedings would survive? When the reassessment proceedings itself are bad in law, it is out of question that you can go and revise this particular order. The order was finally dropped. 263 proceedings were dropped. It cannot be revised. So this now similar other judgments I have got for you is in the case of Ginstone Agro Product and Infrastructure Private Limited, ITA numbers 134 to 139 Ahmedabad. Another is Hari Mohan Das Tandon HUF 2019 1 taxman.com 199 इलाहाबाद ट्राइब्यूनल। तो यहां पर भी यही पर्टिकुलर इश्यू था। अच्छा, अब हमने ये डिस्कस करा सर कि पहले हमने डिस्कस करा लिमिटेड ऑर्डर, वो ठीक है। अब हम डिस्कस करने, उसके बाद हमने क्या डिस्कस करा, हमने वो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर डिस्कस करे, अगर उनको चैलेंज करा होता तो कॉश हो गए होते, तो क्या ऐसे ऑर्डर पर 263 नहीं हो सकता, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। अच्छा, तीसरा लेते हैं, मान लो कोई ऐसा असेसमेंट ऑर्डर है जो पास हो गया 143.3 में या 147 में, अब उसको मैंने चैलेंज करा, I have challenged it before the higher authority and the higher authority has quashed this order. Now once the order itself has been quashed, can this be a subject matter of revision under 263? The answer is absolutely no. अरे जब मैं ये बोल रहा हूं कि जो क्वाश हो सकता था अगर करा, वो उसके बेस पे नहीं हो सकता, तो या तो मैंने क्वाश कर दिया है। How can there be a revision under 263? This is Venus Infrastructure and Developers Private Limited, ITA number 140, 141 and 142, Ahmedabad 2021, dated 9 September 2021, direct judgment on this particular issue. Other judgments we have are once again Ahmedabad ITAT, Vanita Vaswani, and another one is Manorama Devi Jaiswal, ITA 485 Kolkata Tribunal 2020, and this is 17th November 2021. This is the decision of Kolkata ITAT, Manorama Devi Jaiswal. तो ये हमने डिस्कस करे वो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर्स के बारे में जो 147 में पास हुए हैं। अच्छा, कोलेटरल हमने डिस्कस कर लिया, लिमिटेड स्क्रूटिनी वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड। नाउ ऑर्डर पास विद द अप्रूवल ऑफ सीआईटी। सर कई बार क्या होता है, वी आर अवेयर दैट नाउ फॉरगेट अबाउट कई बार इन स्टैट्यूट इटसेल्फ, आप ले लो सेक्शन 153B, तो 153B में बोला हुआ है यू टू पास एन ऑर्डर विद द हायर अथॉरिटी। 274 पेनल्टी का ऑर्डर पास करना है, यू टू पास एन ऑर्डर विद द हायर अथॉरिटी। तो जहां पर बोला हुआ है वहां पर तो हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है सर। जहां पर बोला है कि ऑर्डर हायर अथॉरिटी की परमिशन से पास करो, वहां पर तो आपने हायर अथॉरिटी की परमिशन नहीं ली तो प्रॉब्लम है, वो दिक्कत नहीं। लेकिन कई केस में ऐसा होता है कि भले स्टैट्यूटरीली रिक्वायर नहीं होता, फिर भी ये जाके पीसीआईटी या सीआईटी की अप्रूवल लेकर आता है, ऑर्डर पास करता है। Might be an administrative side. He has taken the approval of CIT though it was not statutorily needed. Now, can such kind of an order be revised under section 263? When the order has been passed with an approval of the CIT, the order has been passed with an approval of the CIT. Now that particular order cannot be a subject matter of revision. Sir, one may forward another argument. It is the duty of the AO to pass an order. He has to discharge his quasi-judicial function. Nobody can interfere into this function. If somebody has interfered into it, if his independence has been influenced, the order itself is bad in law. And once the order itself is honest, once the order itself is bad in law, in that particular case, revision under section 263 is certainly not possible. Let us see what the Punjab High Court has to say on this. Sir, make it a point. It is a Punjab High Court. Pehle Punjab High Court tha. Baad mein Punjab Haryana High Court bana. So it is a Punjab High Court judgment. The case appeared to depend mainly on the fact that quite evidently the order of the assessment in this case was the best judgment of the ITO on the matters before him, and that this was intended to be his final decision in the matters unless he was ordered to revise it by the IAC. And once the ITO had given his considered judgment on the matter which he was called on to decide, the process of submitting his order for the approval of his superior, or as the case may be, for revision carried out under the deduction was something which simply could not be done. This is very clear. आपका काम है, आपको ऑर्डर करना है. अगर किसी हायर अथॉरिटी ने इसमें इन्वॉल्व करा हुआ है, आपको डायरेक्शन दिया, हाँ स्टैट्यूटरली अगर परमिटेड है, दैट इज ओके, बट देन इवन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव साइड अगर आपने करा हुआ है, देन द ऑर्डर इटसेल्फ इज नॉन, वन कैन ऑलवेज चैलेंज दैट पर्टिकुलर ऑर्डर. Another issue which I am discussing here is a merger. अब होता क्या है, कई बार हमने ऑर्डर हो गया हमारा पास 143(3) में या 147 में हमारा ऑर्डर पास हो गया. After the order is being passed, I am challenging that particular order before CIT appeal. Now my order is before Honorable CIT appeal. Now the CIT appeal is passing the order, considering the issues. So now Commissioner wants to revise the order under section 263. It has been categorically been held under section 263 that if the matter has been considered by the CIT appeals, then the order of AO gets merged with the order of CIT appeal. Once the order gets merged with the CIT appeal, so on that limited aspects, on those particular aspects, it cannot be a subject matter of revision. So we have judgment on this case, Sarazara Production Limited, that was reported in 2016-17, taxman.com, Bombay High Court. ये केस Sarazara Production में, इस केस में क्या हुआ था? Assessee filed a return of income, and then there was a dispute with respect to the revenue from the film and the cost of production of the film. Some disallowances, additions were made, which were challenged before the CIT appeal. CIT appeal passed the order after considering the facts and the merits, facts of the case, after considering the merits of the matter, and he has passed an order. Thereafter, PCIT thought it appropriate, or CIT thought it appropriate to revise the order on the similar issue. It was held that the order is being merged. Once the order has been merged, no further one can say that then it cannot be then it cannot be a subject matter of revision. Sir, as I mentioned that as I mentioned that we discussed that order limited scrutiny cannot be limited scrutiny if the main issue is considered. Then for main issue is considered, order is passed. Then for other matters, it cannot be considered as erroneous. Order which has already been quashed cannot be a subject matter of revision. Orders which could have been quashed, that cannot be a subject matter of revision. Primary proceedings can be argued in a collateral proceedings. Now coming to a matter which is a revision under section 147. The revision of order passed under section 147. Now let us say that my case is taken up for a scrutiny. 143(3) order has been passed. After 143(3) order has been passed, my case is taken up for a reassessment under section 147. And then the 147 order has also been passed. Now can that be a subject matter of assessment? Sir, यहाँ पर दो बातें हो सकती है. अब जिस पॉइंट पर आप मेरा रिवीजन करना चाहते हैं 263 के अंतर्गत, क्या वो पॉइंट वही पॉइंट था जिसके कारण मेरा रीओपन हुआ था 147 में? If the point relates to that particular matter for which my case has been taken up under 147 revision, yes, I would say that 263 is permitted provided the other conditions are satisfied. But if my case has been taken up under section 147 on for issue A, The order is passed considering that. There is no error with respect to that. Might be making addition without making an addition. They have passed an order. Then for some issue B, C, D, then you cannot, then the order passed under 147 rate with 143.3, that cannot be a subject matter of revision. That cannot be a subject matter of revision. Then you have to go and revise the original order 143.3. You cannot substitute that original order of 143.3 with the reassessed order, right? So this is, once again, we have a direct judgment of Honorable Supreme Court on this in the case of Algandan Finance Limited 2017 162 Taxman 465. What does it say? The jurisdiction under section 1263 of the Act cannot be exercised on the issues which were not subject to matter of consideration while passing the order of reassessment under 143.3/147 of the Act, but a part of the assessment done earlier under the Act. तो ये आपका कवर हो गया. और बाकी उसके अलावा आपके पास जजमेंट है वो बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट से है, अहमदाबाद ITAT के भी है, right? So these are the other judgments available for the consideration, which says that कि 147 अगर कंप्लीट हुआ है then you cannot be then रिवीजन अगर 147 में अगर आपका हुआ है और जो इश्यू पर रिवीजन हुआ था, सॉरी रीअसेसमेंट हुआ था 147 में, उसके अलावा अगर आप कोई 143.3 अलावा आप 263 करना चाहते हैं, then it will relate back to the original assessment और वहां से आपको पीरियड काउंट करना है, आपको यहां से नहीं करना है. अच्छा सर, कई बार ये होता है कि हमारा ऑर्डर पास हो गया 143.3 के अंतर्गत, के अंतर्गत मेरा ऑर्डर पास हो गया. उसके बाद कुछ नया टेंजिबल मटेरियल आता है पीसीआईडी साहब के पास और वो टेंजिबल मटेरियल के बेसिस के ऊपर वो उस ऑर्डर को रिवाइज करते हैं, ऑर्डर को रिवाइज करना चाहते हैं. क्या वो कर सकते हैं? सर सबसे पहली चीज, अगर वो कोई नया मटेरियल आया, अच्छा रिकॉर्ड का डेफिनेशन हमने देखा, रिकॉर्ड का मतलब वो सारी चीजें जो पीसीआईडी के पास एग्जामिनेशन के लिए अवेलेबल है, तो बिल्कुल वो रिकॉर्ड उस वक्त अवेलेबल है. तो क्या वो कोई रिकॉर्ड जो उनके पास आया, जो बाद में आया है, असेसमेंट के वक्त मौजूद नहीं था, तो क्या उसके कारण ऑर्डर को एरोनियस माना जाएगा? तो यहां पर सर हमारे पास जजमेंट है एंड दिस जजमेंट इज ऑफ once again Raipur ITAT, wherein they have said that order is considered as an erroneous if either inquiry has not been made or some new tangible material that comes later. So ये भी रिकॉर्ड माना जाएगा. अगर कोई न्यू टेंजिबल मटेरियल बाद में आता है जो भले उस वक्त ईओ इंक्वायर नहीं कर सकते थे, ईओ को पता भी नहीं था, ईओ को थोड़ी पता था असेसमेंट के बाद कि कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन चालू होगा और कहीं दुनिया के किसी कोने में कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन हो रहा होगा, उसका रिपोर्ट मुझे दिया जाएगा. तो ईओ का ऑर्डर हाँ इंक्वायरी नहीं करी गई थी उस ग्राउंड पे एरोनियस नहीं माना जाएगा, लेकिन न्यू टेंजिबल मटेरियल आएगा उस ग्राउंड पर, टेंजिबल मटेरियल आया था और उस न्यू टेंजिबल मटेरियल के बेस के ऊपर उसे एरोनियस माना जाएगा. इफ that error is causing prejudice to the interest of the revenue, certainly the revision is possible. But please note that when an order is sought to be revised based on the new material coming, then opportunity of being heard is mandatory. The opportunity of being heard and this is to be given. That is anyway that is required to be given. But the new tangible material, that is also required to be shared. If the new tangible material has not been shared and the revision proceedings are concluded under section 263, then also it is basically bad in law. So these are the situations. That is what we have discussed. अच्छा सर, कई बार होता है पेनल्टी ऑर्डर पास हो गया 270 असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास हो गया 143.3 में. अब AO has not levied penalty under section 270A or AO has not levied penalty under section 271(1)(c). Can this order be revised? The answer is no. It is a discretion of the assessing officer. If he is satisfied that there is a furnishing of inaccurate particulars of income, if he is satisfied that there is no furnishing of inaccurate particulars of income, he is satisfied that there is no concealment of income, he might not be leaving the penalty. So when the matter is an absolute discretion, when the matter is absolute prerogative of the assessing officer on a particular issue, then simply because the PCID has a different view on that particular ground, assessment order cannot be sought to be, or the order cannot be made a subject matter of revision. अब चलते हैं 263(2). 263(2) ये कह रहा है, if we read the provisions of section 263(2) exactly verbatim, if I read the provisions, section 263(2) says that the order sought to be revised has to be passed within 2 years from the end of the financial year in which the assessment order is passed. Let me read that particular order. Just give me a minute. Let me read that 263 subsection 2. Section 263 subsection 2. No order shall be made under subsection 1 after expiry of 2 years from the end of the financial year in which the order sought to be revised was passed. Now, let us take an example. The assessment order was passed on 25th of March 2018 or 25th of March, let's say 2017. Now, 2 years from 25th of March 2017. So, the revised 263 order has to be passed by 31st of March 2019. Now, let us take an example. The assessing officer has passed an order by 31st of March 2019, but I have received that particular Bcit has passed the order by 31st of March 2019, but I have received that order, let's say on 1st of April 2019, maybe 2nd April 2019. Now, what is to be done? The matter came up before the Honorable Supreme Court of India in the case of the Muhammad Miran Shahul Hamid, the Text Sutra 940 SC 2021, और उन्होंने इस पर्टिकुलर केस में उन्होंने डिसीजन लिया और उन्होंने इंटरप्रेट करा they say that no order shall be made. No order shall be made. The word used in section 263(2) is no order shall be made. Once we say that made, the court said that they don't talk about dispatching even if the order, no order shall be made. If the order has been issued, or the order has been passed, order has been issued by 31st March 2019 in our example, then it would be a sufficient compliance for the purpose of section 263 that it has been done a time. It cannot be considered as order is barred by time. So these are the main issues which I wanted, and then the last I have given a conclusion of what we have discussed. So these are the main issues on section 263 from my end. So I guess I have tried dealing with the all important issue relating to section 263. Now I invite the queries. If you have any, we can discuss those particular issues. Over to you, sir.
Sir, our first query is, can a notice under section 263 be valid when an order under section 143(3) is erroneous? That is, addition made under a section not applicable on a particular transaction as accepted in notice under section 263. However, same is not prejudicial to the interest of venue, but actually prejudicial to the assessee being addition made which was not in accordance with Income Tax Act. What are the timelines to conclude 263 proceeding after notice by Bcit?
So, sir, the first thing is that what I understand from the question is if the order is erroneous, but if it is not prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, then 263 is not permissible. It has to be erroneous as well as prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. We have to demonstrate to the authorities that though it is erroneous, but then how it is not prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. If that can be established, certainly 263 cannot be done. So what we discussed is erroneous and prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. So if it is erroneous but not prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, cannot be done. If it is prejudicial to the interest of the revenue but not erroneous, then also 263 can't be done. Now, probably the querist is trying to talk about some issue. If that portion can further be elaborated, it would be better. I didn't get that part of it.
What are the timelines to conclude 263 proceeding after notice by Bcit?
They are given under section 153. If I'm not mistaken, they They are given under section 153. So 263 timelines, they have to be within 2 years from the end of the financial year. 263(2). अगर मेरा असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास हुआ है 31st of March 2015 को, सॉरी 15th of March 2015 को, तो 263 का ऑर्डर जो नोटिस इश्यू कर रहे हैं और ऑर्डर भी पास करना है, सब कुछ उनको खत्म करना है 31st March 2017 तक। हालांकि अगर कोई ऑर्डर मान लो 15 मार्च 2018 को पास हुआ है, तो उसका कट ऑफ डेट वैसे तो होता 31st of March 2020, लेकिन वो जो टॉला टैक्सेशन एंड अदर लॉज अमेंडमेंट एक्ट आया था, वो जो कोविड-19 पेंडेमिक था, उसके कारण उसको 1 साल बढ़ा दिया गया था, तो उसका डेट हो गया था 31st of March 2021। मतलब नोटिस इश्यू करके ऑर्डर पास करने का, सब कुछ खत्म करने का टाइम है 31st of March 2022, 2 years from the end of the financial year in which the order should to be revised.
Okay. Another one is, can notice under section 263 was issued after SSC applied for rectification under section 154?
So if rectification has been done, has not been done.
Okay.
So if the rectification has not been done, then the order will not be merging. Then certainly the PCID can take up this issue.
So that's it, sir. There is no other queries. Now I will request.
So, sir, before you conclude, I would just say that once again, thank you for trusting me and giving me an opportunity to present my views. If at all I have said something, if somebody has felt being hurt, then I convey my sincere apologies from my end. I really enjoyed deliberating before this August gathering and expecting the same from your end as well. Now over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I will request CA sir, for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ravitji. And I, on behalf of Indore branch and also on behalf of CP Committee of ICAI, like to express our sincere thanks to Jignesh Kumar Parikh sir for giving an excellent coverage on the top revision proceedings under section 263 of Income Tax Act. And I truly express my gratitude to Jignesh sir for accepting our invitation and taking time from his busy schedule. And thank you very much to all the listeners for such a patient listening. Thank you very much.